Thank you very much, Lascar here. I want to thank everybody, firstly, for your contributions and reassert at the outset the Government's commitment to tackling the challenges that we collectively face in the housing sector. I'm acutely aware of those as a 37-year-old myself and the impact that these challenges are having for my generation and those below me. I've taken note of some of the suggestions and points that have been made by deputies here this morning. I do want to just touch on a couple of them in relation to standardised templates, which was referenced. I have to say their standardised templates are in place since 2022 for all social housing projects. Reference was made to the single stage approval process. We are committed in the programme for government to reducing red tape and streamlining the approval process, and we want to see a further take-up from local authorities. Note the comments in relation to CPOs. It's a desire of mine as well to ensure that we have a more streamlined approach to CPOs. Also, points have been made around right-sizing solutions and infrastructure provision, which the Deputy will know I agree with, because I sat on the Joint Oireachtas committee with him for a number of years, and I'll touch on a few others now in my formal response. As a government, we do understand the urgency and the need to ensure that sufficient homes are delivered that are secure and affordable to purchasers. We will commit to working tirelessly to address these challenges and implement policies which will make a positive difference. And I want to work collectively as a Minister with deputies from across the House to bring forward solutions to the challenges that we face. But I don't think that simplistic sound bites are helpful to the debate. They don't build houses. We need to work collectively in order to achieve all of our shared goal, which is to increase the delivery of housing. And I don't think that some of the comments that have been made here this morning fairly represent the efforts and the progress that have been made to date. The motion asserts that Housing for All has failed, that it's not delivering, but as Minister O'Sullivan highlighted at the outset, more than 100,000 homes have been added to the national housing stock since Housing for All was published in 2021. Is it enough? Of course it's not. However, we do have to acknowledge that Housing for All has helped to establish a solid platform to scale up the delivery further in the short term and secure a sustainable level of supply that will help us meet unmet and emerging demand over the coming years. The current plan is supported by a record €6 billion in capital investment in 2025, supporting initiatives already in place, as well as the targeted delivery of 41,000 new homes this year. This will further increase the availability of starter homes to buy and rent through schemes such as the Affordable Purchase Scheme, Cost Rental, Help to Buy, First Home Scheme and the Vacant Property Refurbishment Grant. Since 2020, we have ramped up the delivery of social and affordable housing. From January 2020 to the end of 2024, Government has overseen some 146,000 houses added to or brought back into the national housing stock, including more than 133,000 new builds, 1,900 units in unfinished housing developments built out, and almost 11,000 or so vacant properties brought back into use. Housing commencement notices also demonstrate encouraging trends, with 60,000 such notices issued last year, and we're confident that the majority of these, accelerated by targeted government measures, will translate to new home completions in the next 2 years. We know there is significantly more work on site now than there was a year ago, a fact supported by yesterday's AIB PMI, which confirmed a 5th consecutive month of expanding residential construction activity despite very poor weather in January. New home delivery will rebound this year, with a further increase expected next year. Since the launch of Housing for All to the end of Q3 2024, over 10,000 affordable housing supports have been delivered. Moreover, as Minister O'Sullivan pointed out earlier on, the level of affordable housing supports provided in 2024 will far outstrip delivery from 2023. The momentum will continue as the pipeline is developed by local authorities, approved housing bodies and the Land Development Agency. The supply of new build social homes also continues to be at a level higher than it has been for many years. In the 12 months to Q3 last year, almost 11,400 new social homes were delivered, including through new build, acquisition and leasing. And when you add in the housing assistance payment and the ROS scheme, a total level of social housing supports over the 12 months to the end of Q3 last year was in excess of 21,000. The strongest national delivery of social housing was since 1975 was recorded in 2022, when more than 10,000 homes were delivered, and this record was exceeded again in 2023 when 12,000 new social homes were delivered. The strength of the current pipeline, coupled with the traditional surge in the final quarter, suggests that a similar delivery output of 2024 will be achieved despite the overall dip in new home completions. Of course, our ambition is to deliver much more, with a commitment to deliver a further 12,000 new build social homes on average every year between now and 2030, and we'll continue to do so in partnership with local authorities and our other delivery partners. While, of course, the dip in overall delivery in 2024 was disappointing, as Minister O'Sullivan pointed out, we remain on an upward trajectory, and it's important to put the 2024 figures in context. It's clear that while we saw an increase of 4.6% in the delivery of scheme houses, we simultaneously saw a reduction of 24% in apartment completions, which clearly impacted our output for 2024. While many deputies will have different viewpoints, it's clear that there has been a significant drop-off in the level of institutional investment in the apartment sector. We all want to see a vibrant, affordable and private rental sector with an abundant supply and choice, with protections in place for renters. However, we can no longer allow the ill-informed commentary around private investment in the sector to continue. While the state has stepped up to become the largest player in the delivery of housing, we have to be honest and say that the state can't do it all, and that in order to achieve the level of housing completions that all of us, I think, want to see in this House, we do need to have private sector investment as well as significant investment from the state. I don't see it as an either-or scenario. I see it both working in tandem with one another. Homelessness remains as a serious concern and is a top priority for this government. And while it's a complex issue which requires varying responses to suit different circumstances, it's also interrelated with other areas of the housing system, and that whole of government approach is something that we'll continue to deploy as a government to address this significant issue. The motion calls for the government to expand the tenant in situ acquisitions programme, and I listened carefully before I was in the chamber to some of the contributions that that deputies have made in relation to the programme. It was obviously introduced, as you all know, in 2023 and extended into 2024. Local authorities bought 2,250 HAP and Ross homes with a tenant in situ. These acquisitions were funded directly by the Department of Housing. And while the government agrees that it's important that local authorities have the option to purchase a property where a social housing tenant is at risk of homelessness due to a notice of termination, also, given the fact that we are now seeing the highest delivery of social housing, local authorities also have to use other options, such as allocating social housing tenancies to social tenants in the private sector, availing of HAP and Ross that are in receipt of a valid notice of termination. But that being said, we are examining the scope for a further extension of the programme, and this will be notified to local authorities shortly. The motion claims that the government isn't doing enough, but I believe we've securely laid the foundation and built a housing pipeline that will allow us to continue to ramp up delivery in the coming years. We will continue to invest at unprecedented levels to ensure that we build a sustainable housing system where ultimately supply meets demand. Budget 2025 provides for continued record investment in housing with exchequer funding of 4.85 billion. This is supplemented by funding to DLDA. So just in conclusion, I just want to say, last call here, look, we are committed as a government to working with opposition parties and deputies to ramping up the supply and delivery of housing, and I look forward to working with deputies in the period ahead. Thank you.